The Beef and Barnzy Show, brought to you by Bowlersmart.com, trusted by bowlers around the world since 2004. By Lightning Strikes Bowl, home of Bowlers Mart Pro Shop. By Platinum Ford, drive the difference. By Fire Lake Bowling Center, 24 state-of-the-art lanes. By True Grit Coatings, drive on our passion. By Roll to Grip, king of them all. By 900 Global, striking worldwide.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing this fine day? So I was trying to figure out what to do for a live stream this morning, and I wasn't 100% sure which direction we should go. So I thought about this for a while, and I just think that it's interesting with it being US Open week this week. And oh my God, this microphone thing is going to drive me nuts. With it being US Open week this week and the Women's US Open going on and the Senior US Open going on and Golf's US Open going on. And there always is a debate at the golf over whether the course becomes too difficult or too easy. So I thought we could chat about it and about when bowling becomes too easy, too difficult, and how that line has become way finer these days than it used to be. So good morning, Eli. Don't think you quite did. I think Eli beat you there, mate. But morning anyway. Clifton, nice to see you, bro. Big shot. Nice to see you too. Luis, good morning. Craig, hello. John, hello on Facebook. Nice to see you. Who do I have winning the Women's US Open? I don't know. I'll go with Jane. Jane Sin. I mean, the lanes are going to be pretty difficult, and she's by far the best at controlling the 1-3. And I don't know. I don't know 100% that anything different from that is going to be required. So I think she's got a good chance. And that's part of the chat. Like, I'm watching the ladies this morning. They're starting to bowl a little bit better now, but on the fresh, it was a struggle for a few of the ladies. I mean, the kind of crazy practice rules make it a little more difficult. I think if the scores aren't going to be a little higher today, I think that cut for the match play it ain't going to be much around 200. I wouldn't think. Like, yeah, it's a difficult bowling center to bowl in Sun Valley. When they're hard, they're really hard there. Have I bowled the Open Championships? Yes, I have. If you go on the channel, on the YouTube channel, and have a look, you can check out the video I did breaking down how I bowled the lanes, what I used, kind of the angles I bowled. I mean, I felt like the feedback on that video has been really good. People like that format, so I might do that for another couple of different patterns, just random, like maybe a bit more generic patterns, like a short pattern, what you should expect to see, how the lanes are going to develop, what to be thinking about, when to sort of consider changing ball. So I have bowled. I think I'm still in 5th in all events. I believe I bowled 21-41, something like that. Anyway, I actually had a chance to take the lead with 4 or 5 frames to go, but unfortunately wasn't to be for all events. So team is very, 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 very difficult. And that's kind of part of today's show as well. I'm just watching the ladies a little bit right now on the stream on my other monitor. Can you talk about fondness memories of bowling in Nebraska, seeing that the Women US Open is there? Yeah, so we went there, and I remember 2 things, well, probably 3 things about being in Lincoln. We bowled the practice session. They were impossible. And Frankie had a chamois that we encouraged him, and he wrote 2-time US Open champion on it. And he kept asking everybody, is that your chamois? Oh, no, it can't be. It's mine. Because him and Norm Duke were the only two-time US Open champions in the field. So that was pretty funny. And then when I told him that he couldn't use that chamois anymore because it was a rotogrit one, he changed the 2 to a 0. And that was my chamois for the week. So it said 0-time US Open champion. So I remember that. I remember that we did that was the first time we did the ball testing. So that was when the shit hit the fan with that. And then on top of that, I remember we bowled on the flat pattern. We bowled the flat pattern, and they were absolutely fucking impossible. I mean, like, just unbelievably difficult. Like, lots of the players refer to that as the hardest pattern they've ever bowled on. We bowled, I believe it was the previous year we bowled in Wichita, and the lanes were actually fairly easy on the on the flat one there, relatively speaking, of course. But then when we bowled on this thing, oh my God, this flat thing in Lincoln was impossible. So we'll see. The lanes are a little older now, so maybe the track has developed a little more or whatever. Because I was under the impression the lanes were fairly new when we went for the US Open. I might be wrong with that, but yeah, we went to North Carolina in between. You're right. But I'm not sure we used the short flat one for that. But again, I might be wrong. They all kind of roll into one, and it's not a very memorable event these days for me. The patterns do look fairly similar. I think this, especially this first pattern, I feel like this is pretty similar to what we bowled on. No, 2018 was when Dom won. I can definitely tell you that. That's 100%. 2018 was when Dom won. 2019 is when Frankie won. And won the second time. Frankie won in 2016 and 2019. Belmo won in Lincoln. Eli, my sports shot starts tonight. We have to bowl on red square for the second pattern. I'm not looking forward to it. Yeah, I mean, that's a difficult one. Yeah, that is a difficult pattern for sure. On those patterns, it's just all about keeping the ball, having as smooth a ball reaction as you can find, and like trying not to have too much angle. Because the more angle, the more you've got to go wrong. You just don't create any front to back miss. And on harder patterns, front to back miss is way more important than side to side. Yeah, no worries, Nico. I was quite surprised when you got that wrong. But anyway, part of the discussion is, does making the patterns this hard always result in the best player winning, or does luck get involved more? And then on the other side of this, does making the lanes as hard as we've made them for nationals, for team, does that really create the environment that like the general public wants? I mean, I feel like the team pattern is like really, really tough. Like, especially given the parameters of only getting 10 minutes of practice with 10 people and all the rest of it. Is that really what people want? I don't know. I mean, maybe that is what people want. For me, it's a little difficult to believe that is going to be productive for the tournament. The PTQ was brutal. Yeah, I thought that was a bit strange also. The PTQ pattern was, that was really, really, really difficult in a field where they were only cutting 3 or 4 players. I'm not sure that made a ton of sense. I'm sure that Nick and their group because it's not just one person who makes those decisions. I'm sure they had a theory behind why they did it that way. I'm just not sure that was really the best use of that tough pattern. But 155 to make the PTQ cut seems a little silly to me. I have an off-topic kind of question. Okay, are you encouraged by the PBA not to comment harshly on string pins? Nope. We can say whatever we want. I personally want string pins. I want them to get rid of free fall pins. I think I'm talking about on the PBA tour. I think that the string pins actually have more. You've got to be truer with your hits on string pins than you do on the regular free falls at the minute. And I think that it'll make the game more pure. If I'm being honest, I think right now the two-handed high rev rate advantage is a fucking joke. It's literally like we're playing a golf course where if you hit the ball 350 yards, the fairway is 100 yards wide, and if you don't, you're hitting it onto basically a fairway the size of a cart path. So maybe that the string pin scenario will it will take away some of the advantage of the two-handers, and there's actually less what I would call bullshit strikes on strings than there is on regular pins. So yeah, I mean, obviously there should be an advantage for having more revs and more speed, but I don't believe it should be as big as the gap is right now. I think that I think the gap is incredibly huge when it shouldn't necessarily be that big. But that's just me. And obviously you talk from self-interest. But yeah. I think nationals should be a challenge, but not overly difficult like they have been. Yeah. I mean, the team pattern this year is like, wow, it's difficult. Yeah. When it's difficult, at least give me a chance. Needing to average 240 just to make a cut seems absurd. It ends up being a carry contest. When the pattern is hard, it puts a premium on shot making. This is kind of the point we're getting to, though. Like, there is a fine line between them making them harder, and there isn't a premium on shot making because they're just so hard that a bad shot just isn't punished, because like a shot that's just a hair away from being perfect is just as bad as a bad shot. Well, then, like, if you're challenging the greatest bowlers in the world, that's a different thing. But it's like when you bowl a sport league and you pick the US Open flat as one of your patterns. It's pointless. It's pointless. It's totally pointless. It just ends up being whoever misses by more goes Brooklyn, whereas the guy who's actually keeping it close just never strikes. It's like, if you're used to bowling on 12, 15 to 1 all the time, if you put out a pattern that's 3 to 1, it will feel really difficult. You don't have to put out a pattern that's 1 to 1 to try and, figure it out. And I feel like sometimes we lose that a little bit. Now, on the flip side, with the way bowling is right now, I think it's really difficult to find that fine line between it being hard to shoot at 200 and it being hard not to shoot 235. Like the difference, it only has to change just a little bit, especially when the professionals are bowling. Jeff, the cream will always rise. Our pair broke the pair down pretty good. Not great racks. Both teams ended up top 20 in the standings. Yeah, and like I say, that's great. Congratulations. awesome job. But how many people are having a good time? And I think nationals is more about, getting people into the sport and having a good time and whatever. Like, it suits me. It suits me than making them hard. I just don't necessarily know that's. I think there's hard, and then I think there's like how the team pattern was this year. The team pattern this year was brutal. But I just bowl. I'm going to bowl regardless. I think some of the other people are thinking that also. So. See, this is just a total fucking nonsense. Like, because the lanes are playing way easier because people are using urethane balls with cores that are equivalent to skill ball cores. Like, do you really think that if the PBA guys played with balls that didn't flare very much and we all stood in the same place, the scores wouldn't be fucking huge? Yeah. Yeah. It's just. Yeah. I don't agree with you. Like, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. Like, and that's part of the thing with the urethane balls. I think that the scores would be harder if we got rid of urethane balls, but I don't really necessarily believe that that's the way forward. But let's just let the lane guy control everything. I saw people bowling bad scores, but were having way more fun than we were. Well, I guess. I guess. I mean, when I saw the lady shoot 40, she wasn't having a great time. So I don't know. Like I say, the proof will be in how many people turn up. Everybody says they don't want to go to Vegas every year, but every time we go to Vegas, we have the most entries. So, you tell me. Hey, Mike. The Edmund just added money. That's awesome. Projected price first is 30,000. That's fantastic. Returning to Lubbock, July 11th, a repeat of last weekend with a projected price first of 40. Still spots available for both. Yeah, the Southwest region is stepping up in a huge way. We bowled last weekend in Lubbock. We spoke about this on the show on Tuesday. Possibly the best prize fund I've ever bowled for in a regional, outside of one of those summer swing things that were basically tour stops but called regionals. We had 7,000 on top, 4,000 for second, 2,500 for third, fourth, and then 1,500 for the top 8. I can't remember the last time a regional paid 1,500 for the top 8, 900 for the top 16. Serious prize fund, serious prize fund. So thanks to Edmund for stepping up as well, and then of course going back to Lubbock on the 11th. So good times right now in the Southwest region. Got some really nice tournaments going. If you can, let's get out and support them. We want to show the proprietors who are putting this extra money up that, like, this is what we want. It makes a big difference. So, would you say the girls, because they have less time, are having a harder time because they have less two-handers? I mean, I think rev rate makes the lanes. I think rev rate makes bowling easier. I personally, I mean, don't shoot me. I just don't think the girls are as good as the guys. That the ladies tour isn't the guys tour. I think that it's just different, and comparing the two, just isn't really. It doesn't really make much sense. They're just different. They're almost different sports. But I think that some of the ladies are having a hard time because they're not making enough spares. And when you don't throw as many strikes because you don't have as much power, that really punishes you. But overall, I think that, so a player is going to bowl great and they're going to find a way to win because that's what happens every week. But personally, I would say that they're struggling just because they're not throwing as many good shots as the guys do. But, that isn't probably what I'm supposed to say, but I think that's just the way it is. That isn't to say that none of the ladies are competitive in a guys tournament. Of course they are, if they want to be. But as a group, like the 40th best guy is so much better than the 40th best lady. I mean, I don't think anybody's debating that. DJ, I can promise you when people leave Baton Rouge, they are like, holy shit, these lanes are hard. Doesn't seem fun for a regular person who bowls one night a week. So there's a professional bowler who kind of feels similarly to me. When you have a national tournament with multiple different levels of skill and they put out the same conditions that's scoreable to 1 and maybe 2, I can see why some are having a hard time. Yeah. And I mean, the whole division thing is part of, I think is part of why that is. But yeah, I just, yeah. Yeah. I think that the problem is it's how do you keep people in the divisions if we don't bowl on the same thing? So. Yeah, but here's the thing. Like you're talking about golf. Like for me, like if I wanted to go and play golf, as long as the course is in decent condition, like I'm not good enough that an easy course or a hard course makes that much difference to me. Like if the course is absolutely impossible, then I mean, I'm probably going to be picking the ball up or running out of balls. I mean, that's totally hard to say. Every region thinks they're the best except the West. So, yeah, that's that's a difficult question to answer. And I've only really bowled in the West and the Southwest. So, seems like the Central has a lot of good players who play quite often, though. Yeah, having fun is having fun. I'm not sure what you meant by that. Yes, somebody watches the channel. Favorite conditions. Easy for me, hard for everybody else. That's my favorite condition that I've ever bowled on. And that's why the USBC needs to regulate these patterns for house shots to prepare you for harder patterns. Make the standard 12-1 or less, not 25, 16-1 on most houses. Like, why? Like, yeah, why? Like, if people just want to go and have a good time, like, who cares? Like, I don't really agree. I understand where you're coming from. I just don't necessarily agree. And you got to remember, like, bowling's always been pretty easy. Like, the Budweiser team shot almost 4,000. Like, they weren't hitting splinters. Let's be fucking honest about it. Oh, cool, Jason. That'd be nice to see you. Yeah, get the thumb right. It does make it a little bit easier with switch grip or it or Joe pose or whatever your one of choices. Switch grip for me. But in Vegas, are they there for the bowling or mostly there to do something else? Bowling by beside. Yeah, but that's the whole point. Like my point I was making is people complain about going to Vegas all the time, but then the entries are huge. So, and my point was people are going to complain regardless. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, it's life, it's bowling. I don't think it's a different sport. I think the right wording would be a different environment. The reason why I use the phrase different sport is when people got silly talking about Serena Williams after McEnroe said she's one of the best female tennis players of all time. And they said, why'd you say female? And he goes, because she get crushed on the men's tour. She then literally said, women's tennis is almost a different sport to men's tennis. she said, I'd get crushed in 10 minutes against Andy Murray. So that's the reason why I use that analogy, that it's almost like a different sport, because the lanes just don't change as quickly. And yeah, it's just so different. And yeah, maybe different environments, right? But like, they just have so many different different hurdles, I guess. Sorry, I think us older guys will be able to keep up on string pins, more accurate lower rev rate. Yeah, maybe. Um, maybe. I'd be curious what would happen if you took a mid-tier PBA player and put them on the ladies tour. I think Nathan Ball would crush on the ladies tour. Nathan has got 25 regional titles, and I think he's made one TV show on the men's tour. I think I'm using him as an example because he's one of my friends, and I think he gets disrespected a lot for his abilities. Do you think team is playing harder because of the new lanes? 2015 to 2017 had this. Yes, I think that's a possibility for sure. They were pretty low in it felt like they were pretty low in Syracuse for the Masters. I don't really remember for nationals, but yes, I think some of that is true, is maybe true. Hello. Okay, sound like you get yourself in tongue twisted there. The divisions are horrible. Yeah, maybe. I like I say, I don't have enough data to tell them. What's a good ball for a 44-foot house shot? Equinox. I don't golf enough to care if I do good or bad. It's still fun. Yeah, I understand. Ball on a house shot is like a par 3 to play in PGA level course. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Roger. But at the same time, you know, if the bowling center's busy and like people enjoy bowling on a house shot, like it would be dumb for the bowling center to turn them away. North Rock, I think, was 33 to 1 at one point. Hey, Beef Stew, love the content. Thank you. Thank you, Darkness. Striking is fun, and when it's easy, it helps to keep you loose. Yeah. Yeah, they do exist. They do exist. Well, good luck with that. Hey Roger, you said that bowling league's supposed to be competitive. Is it really competitive when you bowl on such a soft shot? That's my point. I'm only representing the competitive side, not casual leagues. I mean, I don't know. Like, if you want to do that, I guess you can do a challenge league. I think the worst thing that leagues do is when they try and change patterns. Like, it's just the way bowling is. Just like turn up, bowl, have some fun. League's supposed to be fun regardless. Yes, Ron, I agree. The rev rates are so much higher, and the transitions are so much faster. If the older guys were really more accurate, they will carry corner pins and actually average more. Yeah, I think it's a myth that like Chris Barnes isn't more accurate than EJ Tackett now. As you get older, you just don't make as many good shots. It's kind of just the way it is. You have a ball recommended for tournaments. I have a full roller, absolute power, summit peak, summit ascent, hyperdrive, level, identity. Yeah, I mean, I would think that maybe something like a phase 2 wouldn't be bad. But I guess you got summit ascent. So I mean, you've got a pretty rounded arsenal. I mean, the only thing, I guess you got a pretty big gap between summit peak and the level. I mean, identities in there, that's still fairly strong. So maybe consider a weaker ball if you find in the lanes are dry, but otherwise I think that's a pretty rounded arsenal. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's the way it's going. I mean, I think it'll be sad if there's no freeform machines. I just don't think it's the end of the world like people are acting. You think Rick? Yeah, Rick's a good dude. And like being able to bowl without it hurting is a very big key. Nothing pisses me off more when a house decides to change the house shot for no reason after multiple years. Yeah, yeah, I understand. It's okay. I guess it's okay if they do it every year, but like doing it in the middle of league is kind of a bit fucked up. We have a league that does tournament shots on Mondays. That's cool. It makes no sense and everyone feels like they can't bowl anymore. Yeah. For very burnt up, almost no range, would you say a typhoon or a tropical surge? Depending on how rev dominant you are, I like the typhoon. But all right, well, this was only really a quick one, just to get on and have a chat about lane conditions. I didn't really have much to say this week, to be honest. Yeah. Ron, you say do your low speed. Yeah, maybe consider like if you can get hold of one of the black tropical surges, I think that would be a good option. But yeah, just enjoy watching the shows. The men's US Open or the senior US Open. The women's US Open goes through till about Tuesday, I think. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to try and get some guests on next week. I know it's been a bit rough with Chris being out and it just being me talking into the mic, but we were just trying to keep you guys entertained. Please check out the our video from Nationals. I think that the people who have watched it have really liked it. It just hasn't necessarily popped into most people's feeds because it's a little bit of a different format. So thanks for watching. Thanks to the sponsors who support us. Storm, Rotogrip, 900 Global Turbo, Coolwick, Bowlers Mart, Firelight Bowling Center, Lightning Strikes, and of course, Platinum Ford. Thank you once again to the city of Lubbock for supporting bowling so much, and everybody who's off to Edmond this weekend. Good luck. And to all the ladies the next couple of days, take a deep breath. It's gonna get rocky. All right. Have a nice weekend, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.